was thinking about this too, like, because we share a love for art. Do you feel that Manto clothing is your art?
In a sense, I say yes.
Because
right?
clothing is art.
Clothing is art.
You're creating something that wasn't there.
Right.
And it's an expression. It's people enjoy it. People wear it. People identify with it.
But art can be multifaceted, right?
Absolutely.
So for some people, art is in music. Some people, art is in dancing. I like you to do too, visual arts, right?
Is it your visual expression?
It could be, yes, it is. In part, yes. My visual expression, my business partner's visual expression,
I love that you include him.
No, but it is.
Good.
As a business partners, it is always some sort of like dialogue, right? And the success of the companies, so Manto started really in 2004, and it's still like a reality, especially in Europe, because we share a similar kind of like vision in certain things, and so on also with the other brands that I started. But yes, so the visual component is very important. So, but part of the art is the lines, but art has to be drawn onto something. So what's your canvas? Some people use stretch canvas and it becomes like a Van Gogh.
Yeah. I wish.
Maybe some people as a canvas use a t-shirt.
Yeah.
That's our medium sometimes to communicate art right now, right? Isn't it? It's strange,
It's perfect.
Right?
It's right there.
If you go back many years ago, I guess 50 years ago, when t-shirts were not as popular, I mean, that would not have been the canvas.
But textile
was
popular
for
thousands of years.
Yes,
absolutely. It's still in that conversation.
But it definitely has helped me as a businessman, because a lot of the brands I work with, Manto, and now like with
Tell me
Sumo,
about this.
Is so visually, but my experience with art, growing up also in Italy, being exposed to like the great masters from Michelangelo and this kind of stuff. I've seen the Sistine Chapel many times. I've been to Florence and seen the David. So that kind of like develops a little bit an eye for that. And then you move to New York as a young man, and like New York, every wall is a canvas, right? Back in the day, I used to see like Obey stencils, or even Banksy stencils. And he's like, but even before, like you had access on the internet, on the phones, like, what the hell are those things?
Yeah.
That's so interesting. You have to visualize, internalize. And then a few years later, you could, when the internet, Google developed, maybe 2005 or so, you can go, at that point, I started Googling, what is this? And you learn more about the artist. But before, you just walk around the city, you didn't know, but there was so much of this art around. So everything came together later when I did like the fashion, the clothing brands, because they had a certain kind of aesthetics. And then, I linked up with people that had the same kind of vision, and then we started the companies.
Tell us.
Manto?
No. Tell us a little bit about the other company that you have.
The Half Sumo company.
Half Sumo.
So Half Sumo is a company that I started with my good friend and business partner, Luigi. Luigi is an amazing artist. He came to the U.S. Over 15 years ago, and he had graduated one of the top graphic design schools in Italy, and he wanted to make a name for himself. So he came to New York, and initially, he will tell you if you talk to him at some point too, that he, like everybody, like immigrant stories, like the hardship of the first few years. Really, we talk about it sometimes, eating shit. I'm sorry to say it, but how important it is sometimes to feel that, to learn that, to really grow and prove yourself.
Absolutely.
So
you have to peck out of the egg to get stronger.
Yes.
You do. You have to go through it in order to get stronger.
Absolutely.
And fitter for the whole cycle.
And he's a fighter too. He comes like you from a karate background, Kyokushin karate.
In Italy?
He started in Italy, but excelled here a lot. He won the U.S. National 3 times. Qualified for the World Championship. He went to fight the Kumite and the World Championship in Japan in 2023. He's a very amazing fighter.
Beautiful.
But like an artist when he fights, he's not just about power. It's really about like the flow. He has that kind of vibe. So anyway, we walked similar paths through the years of just like sharpening our blade, becoming better at what we do. Like him in graphic designing. Me, I went to FIT. I graduated on how, degree on how to manufacture clothing. I worked on 7th Avenue. That's when I worked with Manto and developed, like a lot of the groundwork that later when we finally met as adults and we had the same kind of vision when we worked together from day one, when Sumo started in 2017, 2018, although the brand was new, the company was new, we came there both with 15 years of experience.
Yeah.
Two experience that work well together, right? Him on
graphic design,
me on the production. So I always say that he might be the architect, but I'm the engineer.
Yeah.
He's the painter, but I gave him the canvas. So like we joined the forces and the brand grew.
Yes.
And we really work on it with a martial arts approach. Because a lot of people,
go.
A lot of people think, okay, you're just making kimonos, you're just making t-shirts. It's easy.
That's why I said, bro.
We release one small collection every week. Every Friday, there's a new collection on the website. So it's new designs. So how many pieces, how many new designs need to be designed, developed, manufactured, imported, retailed? We go at it like a competitor goes at it training for the world championship.
What's the martial art approach? Articulate that.
Martial arts approach is you wake up early like a farmer and you get to work. You have your coffee and you work. And nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. It is cool, open a different kind of also philosophical conversation or political conversation.
I asked.
Like nothing is given to you in life. Every breath that you have when you wake up in the morning is a blessing. And you have to have the will to fight. Henso talks about it. One of the best things, I always say, the best thing a man can have is the will to fight. So that's the martial arts approach. Like today, we might suck, but we're alive. Let's get to work. And nothing is guaranteed. I don't have a paycheck at the end of the week, at the end of the month, unless the merchandise sells. And I have to find somehow the key to win, to success. So we have to make an honest product that people want to buy. That people work hard for the hard-earned money.
Yes.
You can fool people one time, but you cannot fool people two times, right? So the product has to stand the test of like appeal, quality, endurance. You have to train in it. And we're always working to refine it and doing it and day after day and day after day. And we're going. And now we're 7 years, but going very strong.
Very good.
We just finished the year being one of the top collaborators with like the heavy metal band Megadeath.
Oh, sure.
We do a lot of their like limited edition gear. It was their 40th anniversary the past June, and we did a lot of like interesting pieces. I think I can announce it because also we signed in December, we signed 2 new contracts to do limited edition gear for the Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, yeah.
Which is another big IP. But we work closely with their estates, with their managers.
Beautiful.
We do more than just getting previous graphics and slapping. And the other one is Liquid Death. The famous.
Yeah.
So this kind of like approach of working and delivering results, now we're going beyond just the jiu-jitsu sphere where we get requests to collaborate with these bigger brands that have mass appeal.
So do you think, or if I'm hearing you correctly, this martial art approach is then applicable for the rest of your life, your business and everything
Absolutely.
like that, and then it transcends itself?
Absolutely. I tell my students all the time that jiu-jitsu is just a testing ground for the real life. The real life is beyond the gym when you step outside the mats. But jiu-jitsu teaches you to be humble. Jiu-jitsu teaches you to work hard. Jiu-jitsu teaches you that doesn't matter how hard you train, you might go to the competition on Sunday and lose. And the only way you're going to win is to get back in the gym on Monday, work hard, and train more until you develop the skills, you develop that craft, until you don't suck anymore.
That's right.
And you go on and finally have some wins. And life is not always going to be only wins. There's going to be losses too. But you have to know how to take them on the chin and keep going. So if you develop that strength, that inner strength that jiu-jitsu helps you develop, then you can step outside the gym, and that's where it really matters. Because in the gym, you tap and you restart. It's no big deal. Maybe your ego gets a little bit hurt, but in life, that's really matters. Do you have the money to pay the rent at the end of the month? Do you have the money for that medical bill? Your girlfriend is sick. Can you help her? That's when you really need the strength. So the jiu-jitsu methodology, that training, prepares you for the real challenges that come in life. And I always faced it like that. So in the relationships, in how I try to help my family and so on, but also in the strict business sense. And Luigi and I share this vision, and every day we're there.
Great. I just want to say, I watched very subtle things in, for me, the martial art term for what you're talking about is called Kaizen.
Kaizen.
Constant, never-ending improvement. And it's cliche now, but when you actually experience someone living it, and not just in the broader sense, but even in the little details. And I was very cognizant of when we went to get coffee. We went to get coffee before, right?
Right.
I said, Walter, the producer, finally wants a cup of coffee. After 6 years of asking Walter if I can get him coffee, he's finally says,
warming up to you after 6 years.
He trusts that I'm going to actually bring him the cup without anything in it. So, but you didn't just stand there and wait for us to get coffee. You made yourself available. You were like, I'm going to get you lids. Does Walter want sugar? Like your framework is about contribution and is about Kaizen. And I think that that's so important, so critical that we don't lose those things. And, I didn't say anything to you, but certainly my wheels were turning. I was watching this man that I know for more than 20 years now. And
you saw me when I was very young too.
Yeah.
You saw me when I was a kid almost. Not a kid, but like a young man. Yeah.
Brother, it's so wonderful for me to have these I was there at the beginning of jiu-jitsu, and to see all of these people that I engaged with be amazing. It's a beautiful thing for me to see.
What a blessing, right?
Yeah, it's really powerful.
We had there. Yeah.
And so, but knowing someone and watching you operate, and knowing it's not hypocrisy. You're not just saying this, that you're operating that way. You brought things for me to look at. You were saying I wanted to bring a giant triptych here so that you could see. And I was like, oh my gosh, thankfully you didn't. You would have fallen in the snow. All that to say, you're living this life.
I really believe it, and I really try to live it. I wake up every morning and I really try to be net positive, not just for me, but for my family, my community, and my friends. And I really believe it. And I think more people should try to get that approach. I see a lot, especially see online, the posting and the complaining, but also a little bit the violence. And I wonder if people could rewind sometimes in their day and wake up, and instead of choosing of acting violent, even people that commit murders or other kind of stuff, and they could just rethink and rewire the brain to instead, today I'm going to be net positive. I'll open the door for the old lady. I'll say hello to my neighbor. I'll just the little positive things, but that then compound throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month to improve your own life and improve the life around it. And this goes to also, we have to lose a little bit the ego and understand that we can only succeed. We do not live in a jungle. We live in a society. Community. You have to you have to have this kind of dedication to something beyond yourself. And once you understand that, that then I think also one's life improves. Omar and I, our
Yes.
fellow Henso Gracie black belt, that he's the owner of the Henso Gracie Rockland Academy, where I've been teaching for the past 10 years. One thing that we always stress is this term that we learned from Jonathan Haidt, the famous NYU professor. He talks a lot about reciprocity and how important it is.
That's what Henzo showed me, to go forward, to be generous, and everything changes, man.
How important, right?
It's so important.
Some people take, but it's nice. You have to have reciprocity. You help somebody, they help you back. And if everybody does that, that's a link in the chain, another link in the chain. And that's how a community grows and stays strong.
Survives.
Is when people don't try to help each other, that then the links are disconnected and the whole castle falls. I think it's very important. So I'm not the kind of guy, for example, that keeps posting online, a black square or a flag, because I think sometimes that's just a little bit posturing, going more into current events. I feel more like I want to help the people around me, the people that
that's
I
where
can
you can.
touch.
Most effective.
I need to move this. Can you come help me? I'll go and do it. Because sometimes I see online so many people that try to think about problems that are so far away, which is important to think, but you can't really solve them. We're just small pawns on a bigger world scale. But if we take care of the little things,
that's right.
You see a lot. I go to California and I see homeless people a lot. I go to California for business almost once a month. So many homeless people on the street. But then, people on the Instagram in Cali always like these big issues, but then they don't help the person that's in front of their door. Help them.
That's where you're most effective. That's where
my wanting to do stuff always clash with the friendly way, but with these other people that have this other kind of ideas.
Well, man, I love it. I got one more question for you, bro.
Go for it.
What do you think's in the future for Alberto Marchetti? What do you envision?
I don't know the future, unfortunately. I don't know.
What would you like to create?
I'll take it day by day. I think about that a lot, Gene. But unfortunately, I don't think I know. I think sometimes it's like you only know that you climbed the mountain. This is the way I'll answer that. I know to put one step in front of the other. And I know if every day I put a step in front of the other, at some point after a few years, I'll look back and I'll realize that I walked a long path, that I climbed a big piece of the mountain.
Yeah.
But I'll know that only once I get there and I look back.
That's my mother's mantra.
Yeah.
My mother had my mother's first husband shot her.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And she saved her life. I had her on the podcast. She talked about it.
I'll look it up then.
But I asked my mom, I said, how'd you do it? And she said, I kept putting one foot in front of the other. And it's such a profound statement if you look at it. It really is something like, it's so accurate. It's like you don't gotta, even in the worst of times, and I don't feel that you're in the worst. I feel like you're in a very good time moment. And to keep that perspective, one foot in front of the other, is just fantastic, bro.
I think sometimes, there's different people, different strokes, but I think sometimes people get lost so much in very difficult dreams, difficult things, and then when they don't happen right away, they feel lost.
Mm-hmm.
Not realizing that instead, it's okay to have big dreams, but it's also good to understand just the simple good things in life. You make yourself good coffee. That feels good. That's already an improvement. I guess make your bed when you wake up, and now your room is cleaner, and you can. Those little things compound. I always talk about it in business. There's so many people that I met that had this crazy ideas, amazing ideas. Let's say, I don't know, like just to name one, like let's say somebody that wants to do Teslas or wants to build electric cars. But then I'm like, are you an engineer? No. Are you this? No. Sometimes those are very complex businesses to build, right? It requires great sum of capital, great know-how, a great team of people in the hundreds, in the thousands. So sometimes you talk to people that have this really noble dreams, noble business ideas, but they're so complex, so that going from 0 to 1, I wouldn't even know where to start. And then sometimes I met instead some of the most successful people that I met were people that started with the simplest things. Just an anecdote, but like let's say somebody, it's hot, they go to the corner of the street and they sell water and refreshments. But at the end of the day, they made $100. Now, you know what? I'm going to go the next day. I'm going to get a second cart. And at the end, in 5-10 years, now they're making $1 million a year. It's a business. But then now that they have that kind of money and that kind of experience, they can pivot to a second bigger business, another level. It's kind of like if you want to play poker, but you go to Vegas and you start playing at the poker table there. The entry fee is $500,000. Right. And maybe you have $500,000, but you can only play one hand. You lose it, you're gone. So maybe start with the dollar table, $1 at a time. You're not making so much money, but it compounds and you start. That's how you go from 0 to 1. And that's that one step in front of the other. Then as you further down the line and you have more experience and you have more funds, more capital, so if in business, money, but it could be also experience, then you can think about different kind of like, okay, set your aim on something higher and more complex. So throughout my life, sometimes I had a little bit further goals, but in general, I think I like to keep it one step at a time and keep going. Like, yeah. Beautiful. So those are my things.
Well, brother, this was amazing, man.
Cool.
I think you really did just super. I learned there's so many gems.
I wanted to hang out with you, but now when you turn off the cameras, I'm going to ask you questions because I have the chance finally to sit with a sensei and hear about your answers for this stuff because I really want to know yours.
If you'd like to ask a question, feel free. What's something?
You have so much experience. You trained karate. You're a master at karate. You're a master in judo. You kickbox. You're a master in Jiu Jitsu. And what has all this taught you? All this training so much in martial arts. Is there one thing that martial arts have taught you that you carried with you throughout all these years?
Wow, thank you. For the first thing I'll say is that I love you, and I don't mean this to be abrasive.
Please.
But the first thing I would reject is the idea that I'm a master. What I understand in Korean martial arts, Taekwondo, and I practiced with the first Taekwondo American Olympic gold medalist.
Yes.
One of the baddest dudes walking the planet Earth. Is the name for teacher is Sabanim. But when you translate Sabanim to English, it translates to master. And the name for teacher in Japanese is sensei. And sensei means born before.
Oh, wow.
It means that I just came to this practice a little bit before someone else or before you. And I think that I've tried to approach, after a certain point of my tenure at Renzo Gracie Academy, I tried to approach my interactions with my classmates, and that would include you. I consider you my classmate.
Thank you.
From the born before perspective, that let me share with you what I know or what I'm learning or where I'm at. And if I were to boil down in this moment my martial art experience, it's that I think it couples up with what I learned with Renzo, which is the sharing of the experience. And I think that includes what you were talking about earlier in terms of community, in terms of brother and sisterhood in the, I call it a dojo. The dojo is the house where we practice the way. And that way is a way of sharing, a way of giving. It's why when you got the sugar for Walter today, it was so pronounced for me. It may seem like a little gesture, but it's huge, man. It's huge in the idea of martial arts, in the paradigm of sharing, of taking care of one another, of brotherhood, but and I'll stretch that idea beyond to include our social political environment. That I think we're getting away from that. We're losing that. That's our sense of humanity and giving to one another.
Mm-hmm. Respectful.
Respectful,
dialogue, yeah.
yes. And I think that's what ultimately I learned. You know, I was your quote from Renzo was really is because I did suck. I was really I didn't grow up with athletics as a kid. And so I had to work very, very hard. I wasn't good at karate when I first started. And I worked really hard to go to the world championships. I didn't beat the world champion in that tournament. I went to the quarterfinals. But a year previous, I had beat the world champion in Las Vegas.
Wow.
And I was the fat kid. I was the fat kid in school. I didn't have friends. I didn't have a social network. It was very tough for me. And then when I came to Jiu Jitsu, I came out of a kickboxing background that was pretty rough. And I wasn't very coordinated. I did not understand deeply the technical element, nor was it really talked about in those days. Renzo, I believe that Renzo wanted to plant his flag and wanted, at least my perception was, wanted and needed Americans that could fight. And there's a very, Danaher will talk about this somewhat, but there's a very famous grappler that came as a blue-purple belt. And Danaher talks, I'll keep his name out of it, but Danaher talks about meeting this grappler and changing his perspective. If you know that conversation, you know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
That guy showed up at the academy and I trained with him a bunch. And then he was staying with Renzo and we were supposed to train another day. And I said, "Where is this guy?" And Renzo was like, he asked me if Gene was coming. And I said, yes. Renzo said, yes. And he's like, "I can't go. I'm not going." He just got trounced. Great guy. I'm keeping his name out of it.
Yeah.
But I think that Renzo wanted to prove the academy's superiority. And I fit that bill to an extent, but I wasn't very good. And then I started to think about what you're talking about, this craft, the how to, because I loved it so much.
Yeah, I know. I could tell.
And
the way you trained, your dedication was incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Even when a black belt, you were there more than everybody training. Yeah.
In the morning, that was my class. Before the Danaher and the DDS, I was the morning guy. I was the guy who held the line in the morning. So all that being said, it gave me so much that I didn't have. I didn't understand. And that all of those precious gifts, those blessings that you had said, I'm compelled to share. And I think that really is the essence. You're a young man, and I'm a young man compared to what I'll be at 90. And you're a young man compared to where you'll be at 60. We're not going to be 20 anymore. And the real value, I think, of martial arts and of life is what we give. That's the only sustainable paradigm. It's what you gave. I understand the meaning of grace is what we give. Being graceful, of grace, a blessing. It's all about the sharing.
I love it.
And that will be, that'll be our legacy.
Amazing.
And so that's what it is for me, the martial arts, born before.
I love that.
Not master. It's in the pursuit of mastery, but it is that close connection. I came in 1994.
Wow.
You came in 2000.
Yeah.
Or when did you came?
2004, January 2004 was a New Year's resolution that I showed up. Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like there's no difference. We're just right there with each other.
I love that you said that born before. I really believe it. I had an intuition one time for another conversation, but like meditating, and I got a little bit of a download, and it said something similar to that.
You mean like an idea?
Well, more like a real download where you have a little bit of a vision or something.
Yeah, sure.
During meditation. And
of course.
And it was like the download was that the most important thing in life is compassion. And it said, that was one of the downloads, is compassion. It said that because we're all one. We're not separate entities, but we're all like like this thing, like I said, a link in a chain. Somebody came before and somebody comes after. So he said somebody that maybe come after might be ignorant of the path. And he said you have to have compassion because sometimes people might be rough, might be not too nice, but it's not because they're bad people, or just because they feel lost. They don't know yet the path and the way. So the people that are born before have this role of showing, don't be scared, life might be hard, but I can show you. And then together we all ascend. So when you said that, Sensei, born before, it really linked to this experience that I had a few years back. Wow, it really reached deep inside of me. Yeah.
We'll stop it there. Together we all ascend.
Let's
Beautiful.
Do it.
All right.
Thank you.
Well done, man. Well done.
Thank you, Sensei.
Thank you for listening to the Gentle Art Podcast. Please share, rate, and review. And if you have any questions or you'd like to reach out, please contact us at thegentleartpodcast@gmail.com or contact us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter or thegentleartpodcast.com.